beer time. It's Wednesday. Springboks, Japan. Interestingly, I've never seen this game in its entirety. So this one should be an interesting watch for me. We will see. Japan against South Africa 2019. Apua, how's it going, man? What time is it in South Africa? It must be 9 o'clock, 9:30, almost. Time to be at work or school rather than sitting down to watch rugby, I'm guessing. Link for the game is in the description if you guys are going to watch. I haven't seen this one. Fleshin, good morning. Apua, they are not showing Chasing the Sun in New Zealand. However, I managed to get a copy. So I've seen the first 2 episodes. What can I say? Oh, Alex says online classes. If you got 2 screens, that's the best of both worlds. Japan will win this one, says Steve. Let's have a look. I was just saying, I haven't seen this one before. I remember I was out, and when I did some video, a bunch of people were sending me messages like, have you seen the game? Have you seen the game? Have you seen the game? And I didn't see it. No. Kyan, how's it going, man? Nathan, Lucas, am I going to second Bledisloe? Yes, I got 2 tickets to second Bledisloe. The second cheapest tickets were still like $100 each. I think the cheapest were $80 each, so it's not a cheap one. So it's not sold out yet. There are still tickets available. I would imagine the tickets that are available are probably the $200-300 tickets. How were the first 2 episodes? Man, it's inspiring. I love that. That's really good production values. They've done it so well. The editing and the way they've put all the behind the scenes bits, the one-on-one interviews, it's really good. Really, really good. Good morning, Kanakian. I'm still never going to remember how to pronounce that one. There's too many umlauts in that. Lucas has his formal, so you're going to watch it in the morning. Oh, good man. Novmum, how's it going? You're doing amazingly well in the old Super Brew pool, Novmum. I've seen you like second in the Mitre 10. Contender, what's up to Senza? Are you going to name your ultimate team for the decade? I don't think I ever did that, did I? End of year, maybe? Big Will, no, I haven't started yet. I'm going to start in a couple of minutes, but I have booted it up. Link is in the description. Blake, man, how's it going? Roger is off watching on the bus to school. Don't waste your data, man. Keep your data. That attempt was hilarious, but Kanakuanen. How's that? Any better? Big V8 show, mate. How's it going? Matt says, Chasing the Sun is an excellent insight into the Bok culture under RWC and why they did was so special. Agree. It's just amazing. Honestly, the way they've filmed it, it's just so cool. That's really well done. Really, really well done. Darnell, man, how's it going? Lucas, do I think Rico will be selected? I reckon he still gets selected. I don't think Ian would do that to him to drop him. Novma, you even joined a Pro 14 pool. Brave. I wouldn't. I haven't. I might one of these days. Call it a work in progress. That's kind. Bears Gamer from a cold, wet England at 8:30 a.m. Sounds like time for work, man. No? Or time for sitting home watching rugby? Jack, everyone, have a great day, rugby lovers. Indeed. Daramundi, how's it going? I'd rather waste my data on this than anything else. Oh, fair call. Fair call. Take that. Werner says, I went to watch South Africa, Australia at Ellis Park last year. Does that make me an extra in Chasing the Sun? I think so. We'll see if you're credited at the end, bro. Witch King, did South Africa actually pull out of the Rugby Championship? I was planning on doing a video for that today because today was D-Day where they were going to decide. And the decision is they're going to decide in 48 hours. So no video for that. No video for that yet. Jordan, mate, how's it going? How is your mum? Big Will, I forgot to ask, how's your missus? Wales is sunny. That's good stuff, Rodri. Today here was a beautiful day in Auckland, man. It's been crappy all week, but we finally had some proper sunshine. Right, Springboks against Japan. At this time, 2 weeks out from the World Cup, and Springboks had never beaten Japan. It was a none from one record, so we will see if they can get it done the second time around. Remember, very early arrival into Japan for them. So, yeah. That beer looks nice. The beer is definitely nice, Stephen. Thank you, mate. Daylight savings. Bears game. I'm at work. I work in a bookies. No customers at this time. So you're free to do whatever you want. Nice. Right. Link is in the description. I'm going to get the game started now. It is Rugby World Cup warm-up match. Japan, South Africa 2019. Hour and a half. I've never seen it. Like I said, people were texting me, or at least sending me online messages when it was happening. Are you watching? Are you watching? I don't remember what I was doing. Priorities in life. I feel like I was doing stuff with the fam. But anyway, I'm going to get going in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's get cracking. I think we will not go if the English clubs don't release the players, says Werner. That's maybe a fair point. This game's just kicked off. It says it's 720p, but the quality doesn't look great. But anyway, I haven't seen it. The better half is good. And your girlfriend is good too. Nice. I have so much mobile data built up from the Melbourne lockdown. That makes sense. Melbourne is still on lockdown, hey? I am at 25 seconds, by the way, if you guys are watching along. New Zealand does have daylight savings. Sam, we switched the clocks like 2 weeks ago. Yeah. Jonathan is in Namibia. How is it going, man? Good morning to you, sir. Good morning from South Africa. How do I say your name? Guranik. Hope you are well. I hope you're watching this one, because the Springboks had to have a point to prove for this game, right? Big time. Agree. No rugby championship if the Boks aren't there. In that case, including Japan or an island team. Yeah, whoever has to fill in the spot if the Boks don't come is going to have a pretty short end of the stick trying to prepare. But South Africa's in the same boat right now, eh? Jordan getting a debut. Maybe, mate. Maybe. Excited for Bledisloe to Eden Park. I'm both excited and a little bit nervous, because after the first game, Colby going for an intercept. After the first game, the general consensus is, man, Ian Foster blew it. Dave Rennie is the savior of Aussie rugby. But bro, it's one game. I mean, as good as that performance was from the Wallabies, they could have won it. Maybe they deserved to win it. It's one game, man. I remember they beat us in Perth last year, smashed us. And then we went to Eden Park the next week, and I went to that Eden Park game expecting like this is going to be a proper battle, and we gave them an absolute hiding. So I hope this second game is not an absolute hiding. That would be a big old letdown. Anyway. She's recuperating from a second dose of chemo. News back her doctor. What was that? I lost my mouse. Doctor has been good. Okay. Good. Very good. Pleasing. Chemo sucks, but you got to do what you got to do. Jonathan, mate, I'm well. Thank you. I love the Springbok jacket. Yeah, I ordered this from that same shop I got the Springbok jersey from, that Rugby Heaven in the UK. They've still got surplus Springbok Rugby World Cup gear, so you better believe I got on the bandwagon and bought some gear after they won the World Cup. What can I say? Early days, says Jordan. Yeah, early days. Something about Eden Park, says Nov Mum, there is. That's a bit of a fortress. It's not an easy place for away teams to get a win. That has been proven. Amazingly, because the thing is, the Blues have been losing to teams there for years. Foreign teams, domestic teams. Okay, someone asked me, do I hear about... do I play rugby video games? I played Rugby 20. I was playing it on Twitch for a while, but man, I got sick of it. I gave it a break. What can I say? Before this game started, I was nervous because the last result, Nathan... Was it from Squidge's latest video? Or was it from the Chasing the Sun second episode where they talked about needing this game to kind of get that mental block out of the way, right? Firstly, get to Japan early, acclimatize, and then second was like, get the monkey off the back. Because Rassi was like, I'm sure it was Chasing the Sun. Rassi was like, we could potentially face Japan in a quarterfinal. Have you seen Campese's rant about New Zealand rugby? No, I haven't. Goodness me, what's he been saying? You look like a proper Box supporter. Well, what can I say? I like the Springboks. Our cousins from the other side of the world. Always enjoyed watching them. It was from Chasing the Sun. Very good. Yeah. Boss mate, how's it going? If you were a South African, which of our provincial sides will you support? Mate, for some reason I've always had a thing for the Sharks. I'm not saying that because they were good in 2020 before lockdown. I've just had a thing for the Sharks. Maybe it's the black jersey. Maybe it's the fact that they were like on the wrong side of a few finals and I felt like they deserved to win one, but whatever it is, probably the Sharks. Read an article where Oz Media called the All Blacks after the game in Perth. Talk about purity and arrogance. Yeah, mate, that's the thing about the sports media is like you're only as good as your last result. So like Rico Ioane has one game where he stuffs up and suddenly he's the worst player in the All Blacks team and needs to be dropped. Ian Foster has one game where they get a draw and suddenly, I mean, that's not a new thing, but people calling for his head, he sucks, we should never have appointed him. But if the All Blacks go and win 40 points next week and Rico scores a hat-trick, Ian Foster will be the best appointment and Rico will be, you know, greatest player in the world. So that's just the way they go, man. Drives me a bit up the wall. Favorite Australian Super Rugby team? Yours is the Reds, boss. I think for them. Mate, for me, it's probably the Tars, which is not a popular, not a popular thing in Australia. People hate the Waratahs, but that's like a level of cultural stuff that I can't understand about New South Wales rugby being all like private school and like, you know, upper middle class people who look down their noses at working class people and stuff like that. Stuff like that's above my head. All I know is one of my mates in China, when I lived there, like one of my best mates was an Aussie guy who was a big Tars fan. So I would sit down at his place, have some beers and watch the Waratahs. So yeah, that's it. That being said, he did go to a private school and he did play golf. So I probably should have known that he was that way. Anyway. Whoa, big Will. Goodness gracious. Mate. Hey, 2 Cents. My old girl wants to say thank you to yourself and Gaza for the nice words in the past live stream. She said this is for beers for you and Gaza. Bro, cheers, man. I will definitely... I'll definitely pass that on to Gaza. During lockdown, I did buy him a few cases of beers. So, because I didn't want him to go to the supermarket because he's like retired. He had leukemia before, you know. He's like the higher risk group. So I was like, bro, let me get the beer. Here goes Colby. Try time. Cheers, everybody. Big Will. Cheslin, everybody. Hope she gets well, man. Greens from Belgium. Thank you for all your content. Keep me up to date. Rugby World. Martin, bro, you're most welcome. I love it. Sam went to a private school and plays golf. Bro, that explains a lot. And it didn't take the Springboks long to score, hey? Faf, what a pass. Even that last little bounce pass. Tamura had no chance stopping Colby from there. Since the New Zealand rugby player is out for Foster's head, 100%. He was not a popular appointment. And he needed to go out and make a statement with that first result. And then get a draw. Yeah, he's not happy, man. Didn't Colby play at scrummy for a bit in this game? I hope to see it, actually, because like I said, I've not seen this game before, so we will see. Great conversion too, 7-0. When I talked about who's South Africa's second best 9 after Faf de Klerk, a lot of people said Chesley Colby, actually. See that Japanese guy signed with the Landers? Yeah, man. Himeno, right? It was Himeno. He's amazing. His stats at the World Cup were phenomenal. Mate, the game on the weekend, am I right? Boring F for 65 minutes in the stadium. Kicked off after that, though. Interestingly, guys in the stream will go, man, that crowd is quiet. That crowd is quiet, but they weren't quiet at the end, hey? It was messy. Conditions seemed pretty messy, eh? Do you think it's being disrespectful towards Australia to say we're only able to stand up to New Zealand because New Zealand is a slide down? Yeah, probably. I think maybe people... Interestingly, I found that like when they did the post-match press conference, like the New Zealand journalists only wanted to ask Dave Rennie questions. They didn't want to ask Michael Hooper any questions, even to the point where he was like, ask Michael some questions. It's just like a thing. Maybe it's just a New Zealand media thing. Aussies do well, must be because of Dave Rennie. Don't know. Is this just the warm-up done now? Yeah, bro, this is the game that was 2 weeks before the World Cup. I have not seen it. Certainly played a part, blowing off all the rust, yeah. Enjoy the live stream, lads. I'm taking the old girl out for some dinner. Good man, Big Will. Is she mobile or are you pushing her in the wheelchair? Either way, have a good one. Have a good feed. Colby played a bit at 9 against Argentina when Faf had a yellow card. Right. I seem to remember Faf getting a yellow card. What would you like to see happen with New Zealand and Aussie club rugby after the whole COVID thing? Man, they got to sort something out. They got to be playing together. Surely. New Zealand's burned pretty much all the bridges, eh? Why do you think they didn't appoint Scott Robertson, as All Blacks coach? I think it's a thing now that you have to do your time as the assistant. After you've done your time, then you can maybe get the top job. It's worked. It worked Henry to Hansen. So maybe they're assuming it'll work Hansen to Foster. If we go on to lose another World Cup, or if we drop some spots in the rankings, they might change it up. Found it for Rugby Championship. They didn't get some second tier teams into play. Yeah. I'm also surprised. I don't think. Does Argentina have any games lined up before the actual games? Like, I vaguely remember them having some games lined up against maybe some like shoot shield teams, or is that me just dreaming or like thinking about what they should be doing? Nigel just joined, got the game on. My YouTube clock is at 13 minutes and 15 seconds. It's the Box 7-0. It's a scrum being set at the minute. Henry to Hansen was easy. The captain was the same. Yeah, true point. Oh, good kick from Faf. That's what he does. Since the 15 World Cup, most of the games we lost, the opposition completely dominated position. We haven't come up with a good counter for the rush defense. That seems to be why they wanted to go with the double playmakers, eh? They wanted to go Mo'unga, Barrett, or at least D-Mac before he got injured so that they could kick past the defenders. But, I mean, their plan worked against Ireland in the quarter, but not so much against England, hey? Rennie was not in the mood for answering questions. Rennie's been known to give single-word answers to kind of dumb questions. Yeah. Was Sam Cane the best candidate to be All Black captain? What I will say is I don't question him as a player. Now, you guys know I'm a guy for stats. His stats are always amazing. He might not be a dynamic ball carrier who's going to get heaps of tackle busts and try assists and stuff, but he'll tackle the heck out of everybody and he'll get turnovers, which is his job. Now, is he the guy who can inspire his teammates and kind of like manipulate or influence the referee? That part I'm not so sure. He seems to be more like in the Richie McCaw mold of captaincy in that he's not a man of a heap of words. Like some captains are really vocal, whereas Richie was never that. I mean, guys have said that kind of, when he spoke, you listened because he didn't say that much. I guess everyone's got their own style. So, yeah. That's kind of a yes and no answer, isn't it? TJ will be better. Yeah, TJ is not one who has a problem talking during the game, that's for sure. He's not a man of few words at all. He's a man of too many words. Sam Cane made some good turnovers against Australia. Exactly. It's what he does, man. He made like 25 tackles, whereas the next best All Black was like 16. So, yeah. You can never question that aspect of his game. Just in general, the lack of international this year, bring some second-tier teams in, could work well for them getting game time. Yeah, I would have thought there's more options for something to go on, but I don't know. It seems like the Argentinians are in Australia with just training to do, so I would have thought they should be good for a game. Oh, a knock-on from Dale Endy. Munster legend. Perenata epitomizes an annoying scrum half to the point where in Super Rugby Aotearoa, one of the refs said, and even though he was a co-captain, I'm not talking to you anymore. Nah. Everything needs to go through him. I'm not talking to you. Too much. You know that's bad. What do you think about Rico's drop ball? I mean, a few people came to his defense. And to be fair, most players score with one hand, and that's true. But he's got a particular style of the way he puts the ball down, right? And there's been times when he's almost dropped it before, so it was bound to happen at some point if he kept doing it. Just a rookie mistake. But he's not a rookie. Yeah, he should know better. Who was it? Was it Stuart Hogg? He did a similar drop ball mistake against Ireland. And the next time he scored a try, I think for his club team, he put the ball down like two hands really deliberately as if to give people the middle finger for dropping the last one. Morning from South Africa. Coffee here and beer there. Lekker. Yeah, man. Enjoy your coffee, bro. Everyone makes mistakes, though. Yeah, if New Zealand go and win that game by 20 points, then Rico's try is not so important. But the fact that it was a draw really highlighted the fact. Really think the Boks should forego the Rugby Championship. Yeah, I don't know what their financial situation's like, eh? I know the New Zealand Rugby Union is desperate for any money because they've been like laying people off left, right, and centre. And yeah, Jonathan's right. It was wet, so maybe that was not the game to be putting the ball down one-handed. Oh, Japan have won a penalty. They're going to take it quickly. Crowd's getting into it. In under 16s, our 10 was benched following the following week for botching a one-handed try. I don't know that Foster will swing the axe quite that bad because I think that'll put more spotlight on Rico, but he might do. You never know. Do the All Blacks have some depth? The All Blacks are lacking a bit of depth at lock. I think we've got a few good hookers. Maybe props we're not exactly stacked, but we've got enough. I think Lucy's were pretty stacked, but locks, we don't have a whole bunch of locks at the moment. Last time they played at Wellington was a 16-all draw. Yeah, they've not had a good record in Wellington recently. Lost to the Lions, beat the French, lost to South Africa, drew with South Africa, drew with Australia. That's not a good record, man. Just stop playing there. Play everything at Eden Park. South American Rugby Championship style competition. I am keen for more South American nations to charge it down. Here comes Japan again. Springboks are still under the pump. More South American teams to get game time, 100%. But the Argentinians are just so good compared to everyone else. You feel like they would need to split their teams if they were going to be part of anything. How do you feel about the ref being from New Zealand? Interestingly, I mean, I understand with COVID, that was born of necessity. But interestingly, most of the controversial decisions against the Aussies, like Rico's foot and touch, that was Angus Gardner's touchline. And that penalty at the end where one of the All Blacks guys came around the side of the ruck, like the ref was on the other side and didn't have a clear line of sight, but it was on Angus Gardner's side. So I thought the two most controversial calls were actually the Aussie ref that missed it. Touchy. Turnover. If he swings the axe that much, it shows his selection for the first game was bad. Yeah, and I guess it doesn't show that much faith in his players, eh? So I feel like he won't go with radical choices. I mean, I was talking to Sam about it. If you really wanted to swing the axe, you put Bodie at 10 if he's fit. Remember, they've just brought Josh Ioane in because Bowden may not be right. So I think Richie's probably still going to be at 10. But if Bodie was a fit, you'd put Bodie at 10. You'd put ALB into the midfield ahead of Rico. You'd bring probably Severis in. And you'd probably bring in either Will Jordan. You'd put Geordie Barrett at fullback, that kind of thing, you know? You wouldn't just leave it, but I can't see him doing too much. All Blacks always has a captain who's in the ear of the ref, seen as a gentleman, so he gets away with a lot. I don't know. Some captains are better at it than others. Sabelo, game time. The YouTube clock's at 23:12. It's a stoppage in play at the moment, so they haven't got the game clock on the screen. Oh, yeah, Caleb Clark. You're right, Isaac. If you really want to swing the axe, you start Caleb Clark. Put Severis on the right wing, Caleb Clark on left wing, Geordie Barrett at fullback, Jordan on the bench. Yes. Will Jordan, that is. Ethan, man, how's it going? To think Stevie Reese could have been at Connacht. Yeah. If he hadn't had his run-in with the law. It's true. South African Rugby is asking for a single format rugby championship, as in just play each team once. I know they've delayed it by 2 days. Flexion says Alan Wynne Jones is a good ref manager. I think he's probably the best. I think he proved that, in a few of his games. Like Farrell, Kieran Reid, these guys tend to berate the ref, and that doesn't work. Each team once, apparently. That would be a middle ground, wouldn't it? Did Jordan play last weekend? Nah, bro. He didn't even make the 23. They put George Bridge and Geordie Barrett on the wings. Bodie at fullback, and they had Caleb Clark as the outside back cover. Warburton also pretty good at managing their. Yeah, what is it with you Welshmen? Country of smooth talkers, eh? Maybe that's a thing. I feel like Rory Best is probably not too bad either. But yeah, Kieran Reid I don't think was the best. Richie was probably pretty smooth, maybe. I don't know. He didn't get yellow carded much in his time, so yeah. Hella good performance by the Aussies. Yeah, man. I was pretty pleased for them. Gregan was a master. Bit of wind in Paraparaumu. It's calm here up in Auckland. Very calm. Single round would give them a week or two of more domestic action, might be the deal breaker. Yeah, I'm not sure how that would work with the broadcast deal. It'd certainly be less money. And they've already slotted in the first few weeks of games, so we'll see. Reckon Super Rugby AU honestly better than Aotearoa. I think the format worked better. There were a few games early on in AU which were a bit average, but that's true of Aotearoa as well. But yeah, the end of the competition for AU was phenomenal. I was surprised, just judging by my own video views, when I would look at the games, they wouldn't get that much interest, but they should have because the games were good. Take after the smooth talking Master Tom Jones. Maybe that's what it is. Oh, here goes my pimpy. Look at that. That's the moment they mentioned in Chasing the Sun, where he shows his sister's name on his wrist because there'd been some domestic issues in South Africa for women's rights or something. No one was better than McCall with refs. Rumors Harry paid them off. Yeah, Richie's a bit of a character, to be honest. You should watch the South African under-21 club games on YouTube. Bro, yeah. I'll have to have a look. Which YouTube channel are they on? My pimpy giving Nene the recognition made me super emotional. I didn't understand the importance of that until I watched Chasing the Sun, to be honest. What happened to the original House of Pain? I'm assuming they knocked it down, man. I'm assuming, I don't know. It's from the other end of the country. Who's going to win, Hawke's Bay or Northland? It's got to be Hawke's Bay. The Shield can't move again. Man, what a conversion. Jeez. Springboks are looking pretty good. These guys might do alright at the World Cup. What do you reckon? 14-0. I'm not sure if how many of the Springbok guys actually have English as their first language. Most of them spoke English in Chasing the Sun, But a few of them, I noticed Rassie reverts to Afrikaans a fair bit in his like team talks. Mapimpi spoke, I'm assuming, as Kosa in his like one-on-one interviews. I think Peter Steff also spoke Afrikaans. Oh, I guess you got to go there to know how it works. Like one of my old workmates, as an expat South African guy, and he said that he himself hardly speaks Afrikaans. He understands it, but English is his first language. I don't know. How can you tell which of the players has which as their first language? Confusing. I need the Springboks in my life, but we are undercooked, Jerome. I know how you feel. Just got an email reminder to do you might attend picks. I haven't done mine yet either, mate. English is the second or third language. Most of us have English as a compulsory second language. We can also choose Afrikaans and English as home language subject. English is usually the third language for most of us. That's crazy. That Rassie is giving his team talk mostly in a language which is nobody's native language. Most South Africans speak multiple languages. It's common to switch between them midway through sentences, and you're originally from South Africa. I get the feeling from that when watching Rassie speaking. Yeah, he'll just be like English, 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 boom, Afrikaans, Afrikaans, English, English. Or like even Mapimpi was speaking like Kosa, 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 and then like drop in a few English words. Yeah. Have 11 official languages. Goodness me. We don't have that anywhere to that same degree in New Zealand, man. It's unfortunate. I think more and more people are learning Māori, but like when I was in my childhood, we hardly learned it at all. It's getting better though. There's more use of it around, but yeah, it's pretty rare. English is what is often the common denominator. Okay, makes sense. I guess everyone has to learn how to speak it. Not many of the players in that Bok team is Afrikaans, but everyone understands Afrikaans. Afrikaans is usually used for swearing. Okay, makes sense. Tay Walden doing his aftermatch in Māori, did he? Bro, I didn't see that. I noticed TJ started doing like a few like opening remarks in his aftermatches in Māori, which is awesome as well. Although I was talking to April Tui, who kind of like knows his family, and apparently he didn't like grow up speaking it, but he's learned some. So I don't think he's like a. I don't think TJ is like a what you would call like a native speaker. I think he's a learned speaker, but that's still awesome that he's doing it, man. Oh, not many of them are English. Okay, Nathan, that makes more sense. Do you think Burton Barrett playing second Bledisloe seems his training is on a bit of a different regime, so he may not be 100%. Reason for switching Afrikaans English is the Xhosa English are the metaphors and expressive nature. Loadout and in-game calls are mostly in Afrikaans. South African teams have been using Afrikaans calls for lineouts for years. We always assumed it was so we couldn't understand what they were saying. It's like a secret code. Ah, you've got the Welsh thing there, true. What's it like in Wales? Are more people learning Welsh? What percentage of people would know Welsh? Look it up after the match where Taranaki won the Shield this year. Bro, I will have a look. I saw that game as well. Maybe I just didn't watch the post-match. Last I heard, the Autumn Nations Cup is still on, Jordan, mate. I haven't heard anything otherwise yet. Do you think ABs will do Cup or Pango or Novmam? I would say very, very likely. Kiss-off Marks Melcheba, Itzebeth Diacha, Mostert, Detroit, Vermeulen, Faf, Pollard, Der Linde, Yankees, Colby, and Willie, all Afrikaans. Goodness me. I don't know about Welsh, but they got a bloody good anthem. That's also a fact. Welsh National is fantastic. It is. Everyone loves that about Wales, eh? You know their anthem's going to be a belter. Almost half an hour gone on this one, eh? Springboks are looking pretty comfortable. Japan's put them under a bit of pressure a few times, but nothing they couldn't handle. A few errors as well. Welsh in Wales has the same official status as English, but everyone can speak English. If somebody demands you speak Welsh and you cannot understand them, you'll have to find a translator. I think that's probably the same with Māori here, bro, because it's an official language. Like there's some of the members of parliament who choose to do all their speaking in Māori, so it's not like the responsibility is not on them to provide the English translation. Somebody else has to sort that out for them, like the official translator for the parliament or whatever. So sounds similar. Everyone speaks English, but there's a good percentage of Welsh speakers, and it's growing amongst the young. Yeah, I think Māori is also growing here as well, which is very pleasing. When I played, the boys had me teach them Spanish insults so they could slag off the ref and the other team and get away with it. That makes sense. That does make sense. Funny when one of the refs spoke Spanish and penalized us. That's a risk you take. People used to do that to me in China, man. They would talk about me. Like in the lifts, they'd be like, man, that guy is tall. How tall do you reckon he is? Like, I reckon he's like 1.90 m. Nah, he's not 1.90 m. He's like 180, 88 maybe. And I'll be like, bro, I'm 194. Come on. But they were never like, oh, here goes Mpimpi again. Bro, too easy. He's just cantering. They would never be embarrassed. They'd just be, bro, you speak Chinese? Where are you from? And then ask me 1,000 questions. So sometimes I would just keep my mouth shut. That Welsh town, I've seen that weatherman who talked about that Welsh town and nailed it. Yeah, that's true as well. How long did I work in China? Like 7 years, man. 7 years. Ages. Too easy, man. Mpimpi. You're a good tall man. Thank you for your videos and perhaps one day commentate in Chinese. Goodness me, that would be tough. I don't think I know any rugby terminology in Chinese, but I can definitely order food in Chinese. Which city? It's a city that nobody had ever heard of until off the post, until probably 2020. I lived in Wuhan 7 years. Yeah. Do I have Twitter, Freddie? Yes, bro, I have Twitter. I think it's just at 2 Cents Rugby. Under 21 games on School Sport Live. Okay, I will have to look it up. Do you still get a strike on YouTube if you show a past game? Yeah, man, copyrighted content is still copyrighted content. You can't use it at all. Any rugby culture in China? Not really, man. Not really. The military guys play a bit of sevens since it's become an Olympic sport. Like China, just by default, will throw money at Olympic sports. So since sevens got into the Olympics, that's the best news for Chinese rugby ever. But the only guys I've ever seen playing rugby in China are foreign guys. Yep. Man, this game's flying by. South Africa's got another penalty. Having an armful of Japanese tattoos has never endeared me to Bok fans when you've met them in pubs. I can imagine. Maybe it's a bit better now. I doubt China even cares about rugby. Only Hong Kong appreciates it. Yeah, to be honest, in Chinese, like the word for rugby union and the word for American football is like the same word. So you have to kind of specify you're talking American or English. Do you think Japan can make it further in the next World Cup? Maybe, man. It's going to be tough. It's good, though. The game's actually getting more competitive than it used to be. More teams making the quarterfinals. You're getting your old man to pick the next AB squad. He's pretty close. I could do. He likes doing the videos. Would the average Chinese person have even heard of rugby? I think if you told them the word, they might be like, oh, okay. Like the same way that a New Zealander would have heard of lacrosse. But that's probably about it. Basketball, yeah. Basketball is by far the most popular sport for especially young men in China. Basketball, 1,000%. More than table tennis, more than badminton, more than anything else. Basketball by a mile. I think the Springboks should participate in the championship. I still want to see them there, man, but yeah. It'd be tough. Did you watch the video of Squidge where he broke down the Brighton Miracle game? Yeah, it's probably a combination of Squidge's video and that Chasing the Sun that made me want to watch this, because I've never seen this game, so yeah. Who would you pick for first five? If Bodie's fit, man, you got to give Bodie a run, surely. But I think they'll keep the faith with Richie. Time check. Game clock's at 36:15. YouTube is at 42:05. Tell the Chinese the Japanese are really good at rugby and see if that stimulates them. That is true. The Chinese people, generally speaking, do not like the Japanese a whole lot. That's very true. Really enjoy Chasing the Sun. Man, it's awesome. The way they've made it is really, it's like Hollywood. Just like the way it's filmed and yeah, everything's spot on. I would like South Africa to go if they can pick a team mostly of European-based players. That would be one way of alleviating some of the match rustiness, I guess, because the European guys have all played more games. Name the one game you would never watch even if we paid you to do so. I've gone back and watched some pretty painful ones, man. I watched like 2007 World Cup exit. I watched 2003 against the Wallabies. Did I watch 2007? I watched 95 World Cup. I watched some pretty painful ones. Maybe there's one game, it's a Blues game. Blues against the Reds in Queensland. It ends in a draw. basically the story of that game is the Reds are absolutely awful, but they have an amazing scrum. And the Blues are pretty good around the park, but they can't scrum to save their lives. And the ball is greasy. So you can just imagine how that game went. It was like the Blues cut the Reds to bits, but then knock it on. Reds get a scrum, they win a scrum penalty, they kick it. That's how the game went for the whole time. And every time the Blues scrum would concede a penalty, Andrew Reedy, who's now with the Western Force, the Reds hooker, would just like be patting the Blues guys on the head or like rubbing their hair. And it was driving. I wanted to punch him in the face, even though that would probably do me more harm than it would his big old face. But yeah, it really, really, really was driving me nuts. Would you rather England or Australia win a World Cup, man? It'd be nice to see the Northern Hemisphere get another one, but then Australia and rugby could certainly use another one. Other painful games of Blues v Crusaders 2004-2017. English rugby content. Go to English Premier Rugby. I'm looking forward to the final. I think the final is not this weekend, but it's next weekend, right? Exeter against Wasps. That should be a good game. I'd feel the same way if I was a Blues fan. You never, ever make me watch Ireland v England 2019. That was... I think I know the game you're thinking of. And yeah, that first game, expectations on Ireland were sky high, and that was at home. That was brutal. Yeah, that was brutal. Bulls v Sharks, very painful for some, very fun for me. I think you're talking about the Super Rugby final. Halftime Hooters just gone. It's 22-0. South Africa have not conceded a point. They are proving a point with this game, hey. Is there a game where Richie's involved? Yeah, 2007. I don't think I've gone back and watched that now that I think about it. I definitely watched 2003. During lockdown, I was just watching old games all the time. I don't think I watched 2007 against France. Yeah. Oh, yeah, the Rugby World Cup warm-up match. Yeah, Ireland were really looking at 6s and 7s at that point. That was such a... Like, Ireland, 2018 is like top of the world, and then it just seemed to come crashing down at a rate of knots. Sal having all those COVID cases is a bit odd. Maybe it's an excuse not to send the Bok players. Did they ever actually name the players who had the COVID cases? France deserves a World Cup with all their past results. Yeah, they've lost a few finals, haven't they? 2007 New Zealand v France. I was at that game. It was here in Cardiff. Man, that's an amazing one to go to. That one is burned into the memories of all Blacks fans who were watching that game. I still remember it pretty badly. Yeah. Faf had it. Oh man, that's terrible. As long as he's alright, I guess. Would you ever like to come to South Africa to watch a live games against the All Blacks? Man, that would be a dream. New Zealand against South Africa in South Africa at like Loftus or Ellis Park, Newlands, but that's gone now, which is unfortunate. Or away to Wales, away to Ireland, even Twickenham, man. Like, there's so many grounds that would be fantastic to go to, but yeah. Save the money. Save money. Sharks v Bulls Super Rugby final still pretty painful today. Man, the Sharks had so many chances to end that game. I couldn't believe it. Half time. Michael Leach does not look happy with that performance. 22-0. Steve Diamond is a dodgy character, yeah. Have you seen the second episode of Chasing the Sun? Yes, man, I did watch it just yesterday or the day before, which is probably what made me want to watch this game. And the fact that I haven't seen it before. So, yeah. Especially when Mapimpi was showing his sister's name on his wristband, I had no idea the significance of that. So, it's pretty awesome to see. Game I can't ever watch again. Sharks Bull Super. I watched the shortened version of it, like a extended highlights. It was like 40 minutes. Yeah, I can see why that was pretty painful at the end for Sharks. I would want to come watch some rugby in New Zealand with the same issues as you. Yeah, at least I feel like tickets are easier to get over here. People tell me that tickets to like Six Nations games are virtually impossible to get your hands on. Like, All Blacks tickets, as long as you get in early, you will definitely get a ticket. There's still tickets for sale for this weekend. That Akbar Mapimpi changed the narrative for the rest of the World Cup. See, I had no idea about that, man. I didn't even know that kind of stuff was going on in South Africa at the time. I guess it wasn't big news over here, but it was massive over there. Tommy, episode 2 of Chasing the Sun was on YouTube, at least the other day. I'm not sure if it's been taken down. Ever watched the Rugby World Cup game at a stadium? I have. Only in 2011, though. I saw the 2011 World Cup opener, All Blacks against Tonga. I saw also All Blacks against France, the pool game, where we beat them pretty comfortably. I saw Australia-Italy over in the North Shore. Close at half-time. Seem to remember Australia running away with it. What else did I see? I think it was Fiji-Samoa in the World Cup 2011. That was a really poor game. Did I see any others? I also had tickets to England-Scotland, but I had to go back to China, so I gave Gazza my ticket. How good was that? Get yourself to Rome if you're up here during the Six Nations. Great city and easy tickets. Right, that's a good one. Just go to the Italy games. Did you not watch any games back live in the 87 World Cup? 1987, I would have been what? 4? So, nah. I don't think it was really on the radar. Unfortunately. Yeah, missed opportunity, I know. When did I get back into rugby pretty seriously? Probably at least Super Rugby and New Zealand Rugby. When I was in my 20s, because when I first moved to China, you couldn't watch any rugby, so I just kind of got into soccer, if you can believe it, and only followed the news. But yeah, it would have been when I was in my 20s. I was 12 and 87. I still remember watching it on TV. Man, that's awesome. I watched the 87 final during lockdown. It was a good game. Owen, mate, how's it going? If you want to watch this one, South Africa's up 22-0 after 44 minutes, which is 53 minutes on the YouTube clock. What other sports besides rugby do I follow? Like I said, I used to watch soccer with football when I first moved to China, because it was literally the only sport apart from basketball that I could get. This is 2005 when I first went to China. Um, so I watched Premier League a lot. And then when my boy was born, I looked after him for like 3 months at home. And daytime TV sucks, so I used to watch a lot of ice hockey because that was on. That was on like daytime TV here in New Zealand, just the way the time zones work. So yeah, the main other sports I follow the results of, but don't get to watch much of, are ice hockey and soccer, if you can believe it. All right, Jonathan, man, take care, bro. Have a good day for you over in the UK. I've seen every World Cup final, 9 of them, only 5 teams have ever played a possible 18. Not an NBA fan. Sam, I could never get into basketball. I don't know what it was. Never managed to get into basketball. Think Japan didn't want to show all their cards in this warm-up game? Secretly preparing to assassinate Ireland. That might be true. You drink beer after drink coffee as it's 10:25 a.m. in South Africa. So sad. Bro, it works in reverse when I'm watching evening games in South Africa. It's early morning here, so yeah, it works. Watching North v South proved to me that you can't combine the two to create a world-beating All Blacks team. And All Blacks with the Crusaders run by Robertson would beat Australia last week. You're probably right, but I'll still give Foster a chance. I'll still give him a chance. Matthew is in Samoa. What's the time in Samoa? Is it time for Vailima or is it still not? Will Japan score from here? 5-meter line out, a good opportunity. But the Springboks defence has been pretty stalwart so far. I think Ireland was unexpected win for Japan. I think they were targeting Scotland. John, mate, how are you doing? You not working? Oh, the Springboks have turned them over at line-out time. But fast being caught behind the goal line. 5-meter scrum, so still chance for Japan. 47 minutes almost. I adore Northern Hemisphere versus Southern Hemisphere games. There is something about the lack of games that you get between North v South teams that makes them extra special, right? Like, how often do you get to see South Africa play England? Not that often. New Zealand, Wales, not that often, that kind of thing. Been a Michael Jordan and Kobe fan since the late 80s. Pretty good players, those two. What about LeBron? Not a LeBron fan? One thing that seems to kind of drive me a bit, I don't know if it drives me nuts or it confuses me about basketball, is it seems that having like 1 or 2 really good players can pretty much make you a good team. Like how many? Like LeBron's won the NBA with like what 3 teams? Like with the Heat, with Cleveland, and with now the Lakers. Was like one player in a rugby team doesn't make that much of a difference, right? And it can make a big difference, but it's not like if you put Dan Carter in his prime playing for the Sunwolves that they would have won Super Rugby or become a contender, you know what I mean? Schmidt made some bad calls for the Japan game. Players looked dead after 30 minutes from week before 37. Rory played 480 5 days before. Might be right. John's got a week off at a health retreat. Oh, nice. Lucky for some. Trying to get rid of the COVID belly. Fair enough. We're all in that boat. Needed to get the Japan hoodoo out of the way. Yeah, I reckon definitely mentally this was a big one for the Springboks to not only get a win but put in a big shift, and they're doing it here, man. Japan's been attacking for 14 phases and they still can't break the Springboks defence down. They're 22-0 down, the Japanese. And the South Africans are just turning them over. Goodness me. What would you say is your second international team you support after New Zealand? That's a tough question, man. I mean, it's not going to be a popular one with my fellow Kiwis, but traditionally, I've always wanted the Aussies to do well. Like, it's a weird thing. Like, for our military history, like the Anzacs, we're like, man, we're brothers. We fought and died on the battlefield together. And then for rugby, it's like, bro, I want to see the Wallabies lose every game. I never quite got that, so I like the Aussies, but the Boks are also our rugby championship brothers, so it's always been those players that I've been most familiar with, right? And then I guess more recently Argentina. But then again, also I have a Welsh surname, so I've always felt a bit of a connection to Wales. Ireland never used to be able to beat us, so I probably had a bit of a soft spot for Ireland as well, man. I'm all over the shop, what can I say? Then Ireland made things pretty real when they beat us a couple of times. Scotland still haven't done that, so maybe Scotland. Aussie WTF. I don't know why. I did used to really hate the Aussies back when they had the Bledisloe. I got to admit it. George Gregan's era team, I hated those guys with a passion. I was full on, can't stand the Aussies at that time. But I guess I grew out of that. What can I say? Most of New Zealand is not with me on that at all. Anytime I wear a Wallabies jersey, like, bro, why are you wearing a Wallabies jersey? More so than any other jersey. That and the England jersey. Those are the two jerseys that people hate to see me wearing. Everyone's second favourite team is Italy. Yeah, if you want to go for an underdog, yeah, Italy's probably a good one as well. Everyone seems to like Georgia also, to be honest. Everybody wants Georgia to do well, seemingly. Except maybe Italy fans. G-Man has your Welsh surname as well. Is Mason a Welsh surname? That's fascinating. Must be in the blood, man. What can I say? Oh man, here goes my Pimpy again. That's his hat trick. Bro. Just too good. You feel like the Springboks are still kind of, like defensively they're really fronting up, but on attack they're just kind of cruising, eh? Players have taken control of the NBA now, so they have the power to create super teams. I'm not a LeBron fan or a hater, but I switched, as that comment goes above where I can see it, switched to Lakers after Jordan retired, and I've stuck with them since. You only need like one or two good players because there's only like 5 guys on the floor. Yeah. Like ice hockey also only has 5 guys on the ice, plus a goalie makes 6. But they rotate the guys so much because there's like 4 lines of guys playing and you rotate line 1, line 2, line 3, line 4 all the time. Obviously your top guys get more minutes, but they don't get anywhere near the minutes that the top guys get. So it doesn't mean you can buy one player and have a dominant team, whereas the NBA seems to have, like you said, super teams. So like the Warriors won it like year after year. I just love Matteo Minozzi. He is a fair player, that's for sure. And 2 of the best players play 40, 48 minutes, so they do most of the work. Yeah, that seems to be the thing. I'm not sure that I like that. That you can have a team of basically 2 really good guys. Like, I remember back when Yao Ming was playing in the NBA, the Rockets had him and was it Tracy somebody. And like if one of them got injured, they was like, all right, our season's done. So I never really got into it. Just personal preference. Are you going to start another world war in the comment section by doing another Lions team after these international games? Oh, man. I hate the comment sections on Lions teams videos, man. They're toxic as. Usually the comment sections on my videos are like really good, really constructive, like proper banter and debate. I love it. But Lions teams are god-awful, honestly. Everyone hates on Alan Wynne-Jones apart from Welsh fans. He's old, he's past it, he's useless. Everyone hates on Hamish Watson. I don't know why. He's a really, really good player. Like, he sucks. How could you pick him? He's awful. Josh Adams, I don't know. People hate him. I used to get that with Peter O'Mahony when I picked him in some, like, 2018 Team of the Year thing. People were like, he's awful. Bro, how the hell is he awful? I don't know. They drove me up the wall. Tracy McGrady, that's the guy. Thank you, Sam. If you want to see basketball with fans, watch some of the European club teams' mayhem. Goodness me. No matter what, you'll see the usual, this guy clearly doesn't watch rugby. Oh, no. How could you not pick this guy? You have to pick that guy. Okay. Sure. Sure. Yeah. Oh, my daughter's crying. I hope my wife can hear that. I bet my wife's out in the kitchen watching TV. Yeah, she hasn't heard her. I'll be back in a tick. Ugh, job done. She had not heard my daughter crying. She's out there watching TV. All Blacks will win game 2. I reckon. Although, that being said, if by some chance the Wallabies won at Eden Park, I don't know that Foster could recover from that, man. That's a hell of a record. We have not lost there since like I was in primary school. Just for laughs, do a Lions team and switch the comments off. What I might be tempted to do is like do a Lions team and like switch it at the end to like a second, like a fake team. I've done it on a couple of videos for like Super Rugby Dream Teams or something, but so like just switch like the last, because I feel like some people just skip to the end. I don't know. Like if people skip to the end, they see the final team and they go, bro, this guy sucks. How could you pick this guy? Like, what were you thinking? When I may have explained my thinking. Like, you don't have to agree with it, but at least come at me with, like, he may be good at this, but he's poor at that. And then I can be like, oh, yeah, that's a fair point. Maybe I didn't think of that. But, yeah, anyway. Yeah, 94. I was still in primary school. That's if Foster lost that, that might be like a death blow, man. That would be the biggest upset of all time, I think, even bigger than losing against Ireland. Would it be bigger than losing against Ireland? Never lost against Ireland in our history. Yeah, it might be bigger. I don't know. At least because Ireland was at a neutral venue, I think people could kind of take it a bit more. I was at Tech in '94 first year. I was last year at primary school. To be fair, anything I was disappointed he didn't pick James Ryan in the 23. Yeah. That one I think I mainly went with Alan Wynne for captaincy reasons. And because Itoje had amazing stats in the Six Nations. But I seem to remember when I did a follow-up video, because Alan Wynne got so much shit in that video that I looked at his stats. And I think James Ryan did have better stats than Alan Wynne. But not like night and day different stats. Just, yeah, him and Itoje had the best stats. It was just a thing. Do you think Razor should have taken the AB's coaching job? I see a lot of people saying that. Well, I don't feel very informed as to what makes a good coach. It seems like Razor's good thing is he's a good man manager, eh? Like he's really able to get into the guys' heads and get the most out of them. Bro, here comes Japan's try, and it's maybe a bit of good luck, that one. That's just some loose ball. Jamie Joseph and Tony Brown are just kind of like looking at each other like, yeah, that's a bit lucky. Who's that knocked it on? Was it maybe? Good defense though, yeah. Japanese, the world of forced the error, so maybe you can't say it's luck, it's just good D. Depends on how we lost at Eden Park. No, hell no, we better not lose. Yeah. Yeah, that'd be tough. You've been listening to the phenomenal Quinlan much recently. Oh, nah, man, I haven't listened to any off the ball since Leinster went out of the Champions Cup was the last time I tuned into that show, actually. So, yeah, I did see some... I forget which journalist it was. There's a journalist on Twitter who writes rugby stuff, obviously, saying that the guys on off the ball, like the way they talk about the Pro 14 is really like, I guess, kind of disrespectful. Like they were saying something like, oh, there's not much on this weekend in terms of rugby, but there's the Pro 14, so let's talk about that or something. That's the last update I had from off the ball. If you look up, I can almost see the game reflected in your glasses. The game is on YouTube. It's a link in the description. We're at 1 hour and 12 minutes. Foster would be guaranteed to lose his job if he lost at Eden Park. It'd be expensive to sack him because he's got a 2-year contract. But I don't think he could recover from it, eh? He might have to fall on his sword, but then again, 2 games? But that'd be a hell of a record to lose. I agree. I watched the segment on the breakdown covering Razor's influence on the Satyrs, and it had a lot of emphasis on the guy's mental state, health, similar to Shakes. Maybe it was the right call. I don't know if I saw that one, but yeah. That just seems to be what he... Like, every time I've seen him interviewed, he seems to be really big on just like man management. I guess like kind of like Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool. He's got his tactical philosophy, but he's really just big on man management. getting in the heads of the players to get the best performances out of them. And Rassie seems the same way, man. Like, he's really good at getting in the heads of the players. What are you playing for, kind of thing. You can find Chasing the Sun on Reddit. Oh, that's good news, Tommy. Reddit is the source of a lot of stuff, man. It has to be said. He would have to leave the country. Well, I think we will be leaving the country to go to Australia. So, yeah, that may just work out. But, yeah, I don't think it would be a good look. I mean, if he lost to Eden Park and went and won the rugby championship, it would always be a talking point. I don't know. Off the ball titles can create serious controversy. Maybe they're just giving creative titles to get more people listening. I don't think we'll lose. I think we'll win at the weekend. But I do worry if we give the Wallabies a hiding, then, yeah, people will start giving Rennie stick instead of Foster. But I hope it's a close game, man. But I always back the All Blacks Eden Park. Come on. Still remember the South African doping controversy they tried to push during the World Cup last year. I seem to remember that as well. But wasn't that kind of an old news story? From like a Craven Week thing? I don't know. Have to change his name to Steve Foster. He might have to get back in people's good books. When the All Blacks got smoked by the Aussies before the World Cup, I didn't think they'd recover. They were lucky they had that game next weekend to redeem themselves. That is true. And yeah, Eden Park is indeed a fortress. Marius, mate, how's it going? This game's almost done. I'm already 1 hour and 16 minutes into a 1 hour 36 games. There's still 20 minutes left, I guess, but South Africa are looking pretty good. These guys might go on to do something special. Would the players stop playing for him, especially if they are playing him out of position? It was interesting that one of the news outlets here sent an anonymous survey to a bunch of players when Ian was appointed as coach, and he didn't get like overwhelming support. And the coaches getting the players buy-in is massive, so yeah, it wouldn't do things any favors, that's for sure. Do I like Waikato draft, Jonathan? I don't know when the last time I had Waikato draft was. Maybe I'll get some next time I'm at the bottle shop. Fleishman says 2.25 hours till the new Macron Wales kit is out. Don't tell me that, man. I've got to go to bed in a couple of hours. Alright, I'll check it out first thing in the morning. Who was the last team that beat the ABs at Eden Park? And Lewis has answered France in 94, which is indeed correct. That was, I believe, John Olomu. One of his first games. What is debut? Even with all these back three injuries for Ireland, Farrell still won't give Chisel and Toner a chance at fullback. You're not going to get Toner at fullback. It's not going to be a thing. Yes, it was Lomu's debut. It's on YouTube, right? Yeah, I seem to remember he was kind of found wanting a little bit at times, but I guess that's to be expected. Don't really get why the Wales fans are so upset about Macron. I guess it just doesn't have the same clout as like Nike, Adidas. Oh, almost an intercept for the Box, but not quite. The last kit was Under Armour. Is Under Armour that big a deal compared to Macron? I don't know. I guess it's American, so it sounds cooler. But they did make nice kits. Will you and Gazza be naming a predicted AB squad for Test 2 this week? I might let Gazza do it. Yeah. I don't think I'll do it. I did last time. He shoved a piece of paper into my face and was like, I want to do this. And I saw the names and I was like, bloody hell, that's pretty good. So I let him do his ones. I'm pretty sure in the video I deliberately said, like, man, I'm just going to make some changes and go something a bit out there. Yeah, some people didn't hear that. Like, how could you not play Savia, you idiot? Like, okay. Have a beer. Have a beer. Under Armour was virtually unknown when they got the Wales contract. Yeah, I guess they maybe just won people over with some nice kits. But Macron's got some nice kits, man. Just look at that new Scotland one. It's a thing of beauty. The Italian kits have looked good for ages as well. Caleb Clark needs more game time. Toby heard it. I think he called George Bridge. Yeah, I got George Bridge. But I don't play Savia. People are like, how could you not play Savia? I'm like, for goodness sake. Gazza picked Savia. I didn't want to pick exactly the same 4-pack. Hope you have a good weekend. 2 cents. A good week, not weekend. I'm optimistic. Yeah, bro, it's been good. It's been good. Dunedin's also a bit of a fortress. People do seem to have trouble at that Forsyth bar. That was the one where Johnny Wilkinson... What were they doing with the balls there? Like deflating them or something? He wanted to kick with a specific ball? I don't remember. It's the collar thing. You either like big ones or don't. That could be true. Argentina's Rugby World Cup jersey had a collar and it looked fantastic. I still never managed to get my hand on one of those. They've done a good job on the Scarlets and Blues shirts. Hopefully they get some good sales. Don't look at the Twitter after it. I'm sure it'll be tragic. Everyone will be bagging it. I'm sure South Africa are going to score more points than this anyway. Macron have a few misses, but for the most part, their kits look great, says John. That Scotland one, man. That's a good one. AB's forwards lost the contact battle, feeling out the new Wallabies. Now they have filmed a state of the opposition. I can't imagine the All Blacks having those kind of numbers 2 weeks in a row. See, to me, the Argentinian was a shocker. No way. It was a thing of beauty. Who are the 2 wingers for the tests? I would like to see... Oh, man, here goes Tokunaga from Japan. I'd probably like to see Reese back in the lineup, to be honest. Especially if Bodie's injured. Put Geordie at fullback and... Man, give Caleb Clark a run. I can't see it happening. It's not going to happen. But that'd be nice, wouldn't it? It might be a little bit too much pressure on Caleb Clark to throw him in for his starting debut when there's already a bit of extra pressure on the team after last week. But Eden Park's his home ground. He should know it pretty well. Jamie Joseph definitely seems to be having a good time for a team which is down by 20 points. Maybe you're right. Maybe he didn't put all his cards on the table for this one. April Tui, how are you doing? Yeah, we are an hour and 24 minutes into this stream. Sneyman has just come on. The Boks are doing pretty well in this game against Japan. Lewis thinks Caleb Clark is up to it. He's a talented player. He certainly looked good when he came on. So, if you're good enough, you're good enough, I guess. What's up with South Africa having giants for locks? They like biltong, man. They feed babies biltong, and they grow and grow and grow. And Tuangafasi cut his hair. He did. He did. Quite short. Do you remember the match in New Zealand in 98, New Zealand versus South Africa, where Nick Mell at South Africa beat New Zealand at home? I don't remember it, man. I don't remember it. He's not unhappy at all. Yeah, clearly he's a man who knows something. For a team which is down by 20 points after 70 minutes, he's not fussed at all. Playing at 70 cents, probably right. April 2, he's still better late than never. Good to have you here. There's still just over 10 minutes to go. I think the Boks have still got some more points in them, but we'll see. Why do All Blacks fans want to see... Why do All Blacks fans want to move on from Beauden Barrett? It seems the majority want Geordie fullback and Mo'unga 10. Right now, I think the majority want Bodie at 10. And Geordie at 15. It's just Mo'unga was unbelievable in Super Rugby Aotearoa. He was miles the best 10. Bodie played half the season at fullback and then they switched him for 10 for like 2 or 3 games. And he was okay. But he wasn't like World Player of the Year good. Whereas Mo'unga was just phenomenal. Interestingly, someone in the comments of maybe the review for the New Zealand-Australia game said Richie Mo'unga is New Zealand's Elton Yankees, which was an interesting way of putting it. Because Elton Yankees, when that Lions team was making Super Rugby finals year after year, he looked the absolute business for the Lions at Super Rugby level. But at international level, he always looked a bit average. And maybe that kind of sums up Richie's international career so far, or is that a bit harsh? He's definitely not hit the same levels for the All Blacks as he has for the Crusaders. Anyway, we'll see. Surely Hawke's Bay keep the shield. I reckon, Sam. I'm picking the Bay. AJ says, subscribing, bro. Good to see some good rugby chat. Thank you, brother. We do like to talk a bit of rugby, and we talk other stuff here as well. Biltong, beer, randomness. But yeah, there's definitely always a rugby theme around somewhere. Richie's better than Elton. Yeah. But you get what I mean, right? It's like, looks this good at one level, and then suddenly it's like down here at the next level. Do you know what I mean? That's the comparison I thought was pretty fitting. Oh, bro, here goes Colby. You were ahead. Jeez, that's with a man down as well, because Francois Lowe's in the bin. Man, Colby's good. He's Colby good. We do talk about spuds. Tyke Furlong has a thing for spuds, and so do I. Japan loss really finished us. Confidence went down the bin. Honestly, man, the fall from Ireland for 2018 to 2019, that might be worth a video at some point, eh? Because that Ireland team in 2018 was like all conquering. That Colby fella looks pretty good, by the way. Nice food takeaways wants the Tani Fire to get the shield. I think that was in the paper today. Well, at least on the online version, saying that they haven't had the shield in a long time. Northland. Richie's still relatively young, while Bowden is already 30. Might be why they favour Richie last season. He does need some minutes. Like, Bowden definitely needs a successor, that's true. Didn't lots of people kind of predict Ireland would decline? Yeah, I guess that's the thing about peaking before a Rugby World Cup, which is what New Zealand used to do, right? Like, for multiple World Cups, we were like unstoppable before the World Cup, and then come to World Cup time, it's like, oh no, we're out again. So, yeah, when you're at the top of the log, the teams analyse you, and yeah, that seems to be what happened to Ireland. But anyway, people don't realise how important Dan Levy was for Ireland. Yeah, that's true as well. Maybe that's a good point to look at in that video as well. You can't just replace your top players. That being said, Stephen Donald stepped in for Aaron Cruden, who had stepped in for, what's his face? Oh, what's the Crusaders backup guy's name? Who'd stepped in for Dan Carter? Oh man, his name escapes me. 34-7 anyway. 75 minutes. Bowden had to wait behind Dan and Cruden, and Ert in his 10 spot. Richie seems to have cruised in a bit early. Yeah, Bowden had to come in from fullback and from the bench. He was like the super sub for quite some time. Colin Slade is the guy I'm thinking of, by the way. Do you think Ireland's player pool is enough for them to stay at the elite level going forward? I don't watch enough like under 20s to know how good their under 20s team is, but I know. Oh, bro, here comes Japan. Japan's got, not Japan, Ireland's got a lot of guys that come through their academy system and seem to dominate. Jack Goodhue's ex-mullet. Oh, I woke up a bit early. My daughter keeps waking me up at around about 5, but yeah, not too bad, bro. Just work. Just work. Oh, Tokunaga, man, bro. You had to come and get that one. That would have been an interesting save, but we could have stopped him there. Watching this makes me feel like we are in 2019. Simpler times. Max. 2019 seems like a hell of a year, right? 2019 was gold. I mean, thank goodness the World Cup avoided all of this stuff. Like, yeah, 2019 was gold. There's enough Sapphires to stockpile Ireland. The Scotland team's got a few South Africans. I'm not sure how many the Irish team has apart from CJ Stander. And they used to have a lock. Was he in the squad? Quinn Rue? Loads of Sappers have Irish grannies. Waiting to hear if my sister has had her baby. Goodness me. That's cool. Van der Fleer, come on, man. Don't be playing with that one. Don't be playing with that one. That guy must get sick of that. Moong has been under the pump and the black jersey needs to show that he owns the jersey. Hasn't quite worked out for him. Might be he needs to book an appointment with McCaw's psychologist. It might be mental, eh? Because the guy's got the skills. Finally, Oz played well. New Zealand poorly coached and prepared, players out of position. Hopefully it's a good game at the weekend. That's all I care about. I hope it doesn't rain. I haven't seen the forecast on Sunday. Go Herschel. Bro, Herschel is the man. I love Herschel. He's going to get a last try. Man, that guy scores a lot of tries in the short career that he's had for the Springboks. Remember me name-checking Ryan Baird before Leinster-Munster game last month? Yeah, Ryan Baird has become very familiar to me in a pretty short time, to be honest. He's left an impression. What can I say? Just came from the highlights of New Zealand versus Australia game. What the hell was Ioane thinking? That's the way he always scores his try, man. But maybe when it's wet, you shouldn't be doing that. Don't know. Night Night Moonlight. Yeah, it's almost time for bed. I was saying in the review, I think, like, once for the Blues, Ioane's try was, like, TMO'd. Just to double check he got it down. And he did get it down with, like, a fingertip. So it's like, you keep doing that. One of these days, you're going to drop it. All right, Tommy, go back to work, bro. Take care, man. What's my prediction for Exeter v Racing? I would say Exeter, seeing as Racing's had a bunch of COVID. I can't imagine those guys are doing much training. Man, 41-7. What a result. Talk about getting a monkey off the back, eh? Goodness me. And I love it how... The game's over, by the way. Like, Jamie Joseph is, like, laughing and smiling, and Rusty is, like, rubbing his head, like, relieved. Interesting. Into the two guys' psychologies. Yankees or Nohamba? I also like Nohamba. Can I have both? What can I say? Yeah. Oh, well, much like Hogg dropping that try against Ireland, I'm sure he'll make up for it, Ioane, the next time he scores a try. So, yeah, we'll see. We will see. All right, the game is over. Like I said, that South African team might go on to be all right, eh? Certainly got the monkey off the back from Japan. 41-7. Bit of a hiding. Yeah. Rassi, thank goodness history did not repeat itself. Yeah, and Jamie Joseph, someone mentioned earlier that he probably didn't put all his cards on the table. Yeah, he looked pretty pleased with what he saw, despite the fact that it ended up 41-7. But anyway, yeah. See you, Grant, and everybody else. Take care. Big V8 show. Yeah, cheers, man. Yeah, talk about luring extreme teams into a false sense of security. That is true. I will catch you guys again for another one. This weekend we've got more rugby from South Africa. And then there's the All Blacks against the Aussies. So it should be a bit of fun. But, yeah, have a good night or morning or afternoon, whatever it is where you guys are at. And, yeah, I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you, everybody.